God, another video I had no idea I was going to make until it just came to me. It just fell into my lap like a slutty twink. Didn't even ask for it, just came right out of the blue. What a gift from above this is. Sit down. We're gonna have ourselves an adventure. It's gonna be a blast. You know, I've kind of been a sucker for drama. It's one of my guilty pleasures, like coming on my own face. But sometimes it's just too good to ignore. Sometimes you have to jump in, feet first, wade straight through it. Before we begin though, if you would like, you can follow me on Twitter at yourpalrags here, or if you're super awesome, you could donate to my Patreon. Every little bit is greatly appreciated. It's the best way to reciprocate, to give me the proverbial reach around for all the free stuff I do for you. Quick announcement though, I will be heading out on vacation to the Colorado state, where they have the mountains and the weeds. I'll be gone until about the 25th of May, and so there will not be any new content from me during that time, which is why I got this video finished. But what I'm also doing is getting up a second channel for which I will do smaller, shorter things or post my live streams after I'm done with them, because I'm going to be live streaming more. There will be a link in the description to it if you want to take a look. I'm going to go ahead and post the old live streams up if you missed those. And I'll be doing some other stuff with them when I return from my trip. I won't be on YouTube much, but I will be checking Twitter and everything, emails, all that kind of stuff. If you need to reach me, that's the best way to do it. So thanks a whole lot, again, for, watching my stuff and keeping up with things. It's been really, really awesome getting this kind of response continuously from you guys, and I really do appreciate that. It means a lot to me. Alrighty, got the intro up, plugged myself. Not like that. Think it's time, though, to get this train a-moving. The subject of today's spotlight is none other than a miserable little YouTuber named NextGen720. Now, he used to go by Zaire. I might use those names interchangeably. Or is it Zaire? I don't know. If I had more respect for the man, I might do something. Though I guess the phrase man is subjective. Our story begins a while back when this guy NextGen720 made a video called Scorpio Destroys PC. According to Valve, only 3% PC owners game in 4K in 34% 1080p. This is too funny. Shakespearean nomenclature, I know. Truly, this is masterwork of a scholar. Now, NextGen wasn't the first person to hop on the I'm the fucking idiot who doesn't know how to read statistics train. In fact, Stone Fraud Media did the exact same thing because, again, he doesn't know how statistics work. But I totally understand. Numbers can be difficult. Some of them are very big. Eventually, you run out of fingers and appendages to count on. That's why I can only count to 21. So to counter all the lies and bollocks that he spews in his video, I made a response video of my own. Oh, and speaking of which, just for general information purposes, if something is bollocks, it's bad. If something is the dog's bollocks, it is good. 'Cause we lick 'em. Now, he technically made a response to my response, even though he didn't say anything or do anything. I mean, I don't think I'm being hyperbolic when I say he completely ignored every point and bit of data that I brought up, but I guess that would require some thought. And, I mean, I will admit it is easier to just call me the king of the PC dick lickers. Like his first video is pretty much a massive train wreck. In fact, you can see him here stalling for a bit while his train of thought is still boarding at the station. Anyway, his video went about as well as you'd expect. And after 2 big L's in a row delivered by yours truly in a comment section full of people ready and willing to call him an idiot, you would think he would sort of get the point that you should just let, well, proverbial sleeping dogs lie. And for the most part during this whole back and forth, he had me blocked on Twitter because NextGen720 is a candy-ass bitch. How brave of you to talk so big in a video and not even be able to do anything to me on Twitter, of all places. He only unblocked me from Twitter after he made a video, in which he tagged my Twitter name in it, thinking he actually had some sort of a moral high ground to stand upon where he thought I was racist. Because again, NextGen720 is a fucking moron. Now, very recently, NextGen decided he would dip his toe in the proverbial shitstorm that is mentioning me. Now, what he decided to do was to make another video mentioning me called I'm sorry, but I had to call out at Your Pal Rags and NeoGaf, you mad or nah. What an intellectual. Now, some of you might be asking, why does he put at Your Pal Rags instead of just writing Rags? It's so much shorter, and not even NextGen720 would misspell that. Well, don't quote me on that. Why is he using my Twitter handle in his YouTube video instead of just naming me? Well, it's all about my mentions. I mean, what? You're gonna make a video about somebody, instead of actually telling them you made a video about them, it's far more manly for you to put their Twitter handle in the name of your YouTube video so that they see the mentions popping up constantly on their Twitter feed that someone liked it or retweeted it. That's not petty and childish at all. But you know what's really interesting about that? Well, this is a game that two can play. Now you may be asking yourself, or you might have asked yourself before, why is this guy's Twitter handle in the title of your YouTube video, Rags? Well, gee golly willikers, folks, that's a good question. Well, if you like this video so far, or if you end up liking this video, I would be very, very appreciative if you went to the share button below the video here, and then click the share to Twitter button. That would help this video get a little bit of attention, and it doesn't matter if you have 1 follower, or 10, or 20, or 10,000. I would really, really appreciate it if you clicked this button and showed all of your followers, specifically, that you enjoyed this video. I would really appreciate that if you did that for me on Twitter, for your followers, and nobody else. That would mean just the world to me. Thank you so much. It only takes a few mouse clicks and it would just warm my heart. I'm certain that all of your followers would really appreciate seeing that in their feeds. How fun. Fantastic. So now that we've sort of set the scene and I've reintroduced you to our cast of characters, let's get with the response. Oh, quick interjection here. I cut out his stupid intro. It's cringy fanboy garbage.
What's the deal, YouTube? It's your boy NextGen720, and I am back.
No, by the way, his microphone quality does not get better. Why would you even ask?
With the video, ready or not, here I come. You can't hide.
Ironic coming from someone who had me blocked on Twitter for how many months?
I'm gonna pop my and make you mad at me. I did a video yesterday, and I was saying that,
Sorry, how does a fighting game manage to look this poor on a console? It's a fighting game.
I was saying that, early, reported that, Assassin's Creed, Origin runs better on Xbox Scorpio. And, Game Informer, got to sit down with the game, and, they were playing a very early build of the game.
Well, gosh, my condolences to Game Informer for playing an early build of an Assassin's Creed game.
Ubisoft told them that it only took them about, I think it was 2 weeks to get the game up and running on Xbox Scorpio.
Well, gosh, let me go pre-order a Scorpio right now. Jeez.
And I mentioned something, and I said that when I said that games are going, the Scorpio is going to outperform a lot of people gaming rigs.
Whoa, full stop now. Let's take this piece by piece. I understand what I'm going to say is going to be completely ignored by NextGen720. At this point, I'm not even really talking to him. I'm talking to you, the dear viewer. As I know, and as many of you know, and as many of you will probably learn, NextGen720 demonstrates a complete inability to understand even some of the most basic, simple concepts. He thinks in such simplistic terms, he can't free his mind from them. Side effect of too many consoles. Now, regardless of what you play on, whether it's PC or console or anything, most of you are probably smart enough to understand that PC hardware is both powerful and weak and everything in between. Every passing week, it becomes more and more affordable and more cheap to get more and more powerful computer systems. And assembling these systems is as easy as knowing, well, round peg goes in round hole and square peg goes in square hole. That was a very complicated analogy, so I do in a way understand why NextGen can't keep up. You see, NextGen, a round peg will not go into a round hole, you see? That's what I'm trying to get at here. I want to explain this to you so you too can keep up at home. Not that I expect you to watch this. Based on everything I've seen from you, you look at a title, and maybe you get someone else that you like to tell you what the video was about, and they didn't watch it either, and so then you make your response where it's just name-calling. I'm going to do that too, but I'm actually going to have information in it. I'm going to make you look like a damn fool for the third time. Undoubtedly, the Scorpio will run better than many PCs out there. It will also run far worse than many PCs out there. You see, the PC as a platform is so great because it allows you the freedom to choose what you want to a hugely vast degree. Do you want a cheap system that doesn't necessarily run very well? That's fine. Do you want to spend a lot of money on a super powerful computer like I have? That's within your power too. Do you want to take a computer that you have and just stick something in it and run it better than a console? Well, that option is afforded to you as well. So saying the Scorpio runs better than gaming rigs is disingenuous. That's why I have never had any interest about the Scorpio in terms of its power, because the Scorpio is way weaker than my PC, and it's weaker than many of the PCs my friends play on. Some people just don't really care all that much about performance next-gen 720, and if it does really matter to you, you're just going to get a PC that runs as good as you want it to run. Though, I must admit, I do find it a little curious how you and your little Xbox Scorpio cult clique fan club have always for years now been saying that, oh, it's not about the performance isn't what matters, that's not what matters at all, it doesn't matter. While the PlayStation had better performance than you for years and years, and now that the Scorpio is sort of getting close to coming out, now all of a sudden it's nothing but 4K performance graphics. Now that we have the most powerful hardware, or we're going to, now performance matters. It didn't before when the PlayStation was stronger than us, but it does now.
How you say, the PC elitists, even some Sony ponies or whoever were mad. You know, they like to team up on Xbox fans for whatever reason.
Alright, this tribalist mentality that you have is really, really toxic in the gaming community. You see, anyone can watch my videos regardless of what they play on, and they can enjoy it, because I don't make fun of people because they play on console. Maybe a light-hearted jab here and there, but it's never anything more than that. I make fun of people when they act like stupid idiots regarding their consoles, or when they lie about it, or when they say something that just isn't true. Someone plays on PC, they're a PC elitist. Someone plays on a PlayStation, there's a Sony pony. If someone plays on a Nintendo, whatever they have now, they're a Nintendork or a Switcheroony. I don't know what they're called. Wait, Switcheroony? The Roman poet Ovid said, "If you want to be loved, be lovable." And let me be very frank, your little Xbox community's fucking cancer. Weapons grade levels of autism. Industrial strength retardation straight from Monsanto. You're hateful, and you're vile, and you're despicable, awful people, and there's a reason people call you a cult. The way you praise objects and certain people, the way you suppress dissent, how block happy you are, and how quick you are to, well, be so vile towards those who leave.
I always said that PC guys, they don't have a dog in this fight. Like, you know, we talking about console?
I am PC's dog in this fight. But you can't make videos calling out PC, erroneously, I might add, and then wonder where all these PC guys coming from. I didn't know why this is right. You kick the proverbial hornet's nest, you're gonna get metaphorically stung. Maybe that's why your face looks so swollen. I don't know. Maybe if your crowd wasn't so hateful and vile towards basically everybody else all the time in your echo chambers, then maybe people would be much more willing to look friendly upon you. It's also sad that it seems like I have to explain to you that gaming as a community, as a demographic, as an industry, platforms are connected to one another, not necessarily in direct ways, but I, as a high-end PC gamer, high-end PC, not high-end well, I'm a high-end person, but I have every reason for the Scorpio to do well, and I've said I want it to do well, and I want it to sell as good as it can possibly sell, and I want the games on it to be as good as they can be. That only helps me as a PC gamer. The more that developers and publishers see that there is a bigger section of the market, the more and more people that show they're interested in games that at least run better and look better, then the more attention they'll pay to the high-end PC gamers like me. It's definitely worth it, even with some of the minor inconveniences, but why wouldn't I want to make my own situation better? Nobody loses if the Scorpio does really well. That's one of the differences between you and me, next gen. One of the many, many, many differences. You want Xbox and Microsoft to do well. I want gamers to do well. I want the industry to be good. I want the consumers to have what's best for them. When Sony gives PlayStation fans the shaft, you celebrate. When Nintendo fucks around with their fan base, you are joyous. Get this tribalistic us versus them mentality out of your head, and people might start respecting you more. And learn how to spell.
Just speaking freely, you know what I mean? I know there's not no real thing as a console war, but we all have fun.
What? You're a foot soldier. It's like going up to a German in the trenches of Verdun and saying, hey, there's a big fight going on out there. You participate in the console war every day, next gen. What do you get off saying that it's not real?
And, some giggles. Trust me, it's not that serious.
I just do podcasts with Mooch and Crap Gamer, and my channel is basically built on slandering other companies and other people, and I'm a huge Microsoft fanboy, but it's just shits giggles, guys. Console war doesn't matter at all.
But I always find it crazy and ironic. While a lot of PC guys are hopping console videos, so they say they're PC guys.
You see, you're such a disingenuous person. You're so polluted in your way of thinking. You can't even take people at their word when they say they play on PC. You have to assume it's a lie and it's a trick and they're out to get you. You think the worst of anyone who isn't in your cult.
And well, my rig, my 2PD9 right now destroys the Scorpio.
Well, I mean, yeah, my PC does destroy the Scorpio. A lot of my friends have PCs that destroy the Scorpio. It's not really that hard, you know? It's not expensive either. I mean, maybe if you guys didn't block everybody who said otherwise, you might learn something about, you know, how technology works.
Okay, if the, I mean, just going by what, Val said, all I said in this video was that only 34% of you guys with these gaming rigs are able to game at 1080p 60 frames a second.
What's sad is that even after all of this, after all of the evidence I've shown you, after all the links I've given for you to take a look at, every explanation of the Valve survey that you keep talking about, all this, and you still don't get it right. In fact, what you said just now is even more wrong than what you were before. You've added stuff to it that's wrong. Now, I'll put links in the description to Fringy's video and my response to him so you could go back and you can look at these later, because really, it's kind of embarrassing how you still keep getting this wrong, Next Gen. The Steam hardware survey doesn't do gaming PCs, it doesn't do gaming rigs or anything like that. Any PC that has a Steam account on it was part of the survey, as long as the user said they wanted to do the survey. It only took, it only took the resolutions at which they played at specifically. Ultra-wides, multi-monitor supports, 1440p, laptop resolutions, and laptop screens, all of that stuff, you completely glossed over it like it wasn't even real. And there was nothing about FPS in that survey. I don't know where you got 60 FPS. Oh, that's right, you're an Xbox fanboy cultist. You just make shit up, and for some reason you have followers who will just believe you when you say things. That's why people make fun of you. That's why your channel is small. And that's why I question the mental integrity of anyone who follows you in an unironic fashion. People follow you, Crap Gamer Mooch, for confirmation bias. They want to hear what they want to hear. They want to hear what suits them. They want to hear things that are good about their side, and they want to ignore everything else. So when you say, oh, only 34% of PC gamers play at 1080p, 60 FPS, they'll say, oh, well gosh, PC gaming sucks then. Because they don't think to follow through. Because they come to you for information, and you're presenting people with faulty information. Because that's just what you do, I suppose.
And only 3% are able to game in 4K.
Actively do, or who are able to. I'm able to. I play some games in 4K, mostly 1440p because I like my frames. But please, tell us more about how the numbers confuse you.
Now, again, these aren't my numbers.
Well, some of these numbers aren't anybody's. You just made them up.
It's not something I pulled out my hat. This is coming strictly from Valve, Steam.
No, again, that's not what the Steam survey says. This has been explained to you, Next Gen. You're not listening.
I said all that in the video, right?
Yeah, and many people on the internet explained to you why you were wrong, and you didn't listen. Instead, you responded with ad hominems and accusations of racism and calling people cocksuckers and blocks on Twitter. That's not exactly how you better yourself as an individual.
And now, maybe in the title I might have, spiced it up a little bit. Just having fun with it.
Wow, you're utterly clueless about the quality of your titles, aren't you?
So Rags and those guys in Top have decided to make a video about me. If I'm not mistaken, they've had a thread about me on NeoGAF, right?
Yeah, that's what happens when you say stupid things. Good YouTubers, like Fringy and Top Hats and Champagne, Rags, they make videos calling you out and exposing you for saying dumb shit.
NeoGAF, you about to get this work too, right? Rags did like a 30-minute video, right? One or two about me, right?
Yeah, your video was of such low quality and was so full of just awful nonsense, it took a while for me to get it through it all. A 10-second lie can take 10 minutes to correct, truthfully. Plus, I enjoy making content. Like, I like it. I like making videos. I have a whole channel and everything. I'm just a busy doggo. So you should feel privileged that I, of all people, have deigned to give you any sort of attention. Because honestly, you're one of the most insipid morons I have ever encountered on the internet. It has been, whoa, what an adventure it has been listening to you.
Had all those guys, it was crazy, had all these guys even started tweeting me on Twitter, leaving me racial comments. Ooh, that's original, right?
Okay, so So let me get this straight. A couple idiot nimrods decide to make racial comments to you, probably just to get a rise out of you, by the way, which clearly worked. And so you say, you know what, I'm going to take the moral high ground and instead be bigoted against the sexuality of the content creator himself instead of them. Yeah, when they go low, we go straight to the center of the fucking earth. You're a gem.
You know, call me anything but a child of God. Lord! Right, straight out right.
If anything, you're evidence that God has left us and abandoned his creation to the eternal darkness of space.
Yeah, gonna get this word. So initially I blocked him. You know, I think I unblocked because he did a video too, and he was saying, but no, I'm sorry, he didn't do a video.
Yeah, you're only worth so much.
Something very racist and very raunchy that he left on Twitter. And you know, I don't even rock out with Black Bond at all. And even he did a video addressing something that he put on Twitter. Was saying a very nasty word for black folks, right?
Yeah, I said nigger. And if you think I'm sorry, you're wrong. And if you don't understand the context in which I said it, you're a fucking idiot. And you know what? I expected better of Black Bond. He's always been a smart cookie, and I've always liked him, and I still do, but he was way off the mark when he went off the rails on that. I mean, he literally said racist things to tell me that I was being racist, but I'm gonna chalk that up to him just having good intentions, because I don't think that he had the worst intentions in mind, right? You see, I don't think Black Bond did any of that in Malafides. I think he was just getting a little bit too, I don't know, personal with some of this stuff when he shouldn't have been. And he went a little bit too far. And he made a fool of himself, and I'm not going to follow it any further, because I like Black Bond. He's a good guy. But that doesn't change the fact that you and him both went completely off the reservation because you don't understand what context is. I didn't call anyone a nigger. That's ridiculous. I've never done that in my life. That's an awful thing to do. No one should do that. Someone on Twitter said, white people should never say the N-word. She was a blue-haired lesbian witch, judging from her Twitter bio, so I of course said, nigger, being a white person, and she flipped. She blocked me, but oh man, I just wanted to trigger her. But the amount of response that I got from everybody else, it was fucking glorious. I'm not gonna say it was my magnum opus, but I think it's definitely up there. Pro tip though, if your counter to me saying nigger is white people can't say it and black people can't say it, but it's even worse for white people to say it than black people, and then you call me racist, a little bit of self-awareness goes a long way. Anyone can say anything they want, regardless of their skin color. Anyone can do anything they want, regardless of their skin color. I obviously don't care what color you are. I don't care what color anyone is. But here's another fun fact for you. Words only have the power that you give them, Next Gen 720. If you had any iota of intelligence or wisdom, you would understand that that word only has the power that you give to it. But remember when I said earlier that he only unblocked me because he heard of something that I had said that he completely took out of context and then unblocked me so that he thought he had the moral high ground for once? Yeah, that's what cowards do, Next Gen 720. Oh, and don't say that that word is nasty for black folks. It's only nasty for people who give a shit. There are tons of white people who get super offended because you said a word. And there are tons of black people who just don't care because it's a word. It literally has no power over you unless you act like it does. And those people have made themselves invincible to it. They don't victimize themselves because of it. That's why you can call me a faggot cocksucker fruitcake and it doesn't matter. I don't care. What's the worst you're gonna do? Type in all caps at me?
He didn't say it, he was retweets. Long story, right? But it's very distasteful, right?
No, I didn't retweet it. I said nigger. You made a big deal about this and made a video and you even unblocked me on Twitter and you don't even know what it was for.
So, I didn't understand why Rags and Top Hat, these guys, were making these videos about me. Not that I care, trust me, it is, but not that I care.
Wait, what do you mean you didn't care? I mean, to my knowledge, you made at least one response video to me. You obviously do care. You're making response videos. I mean, you clearly care enough to make a video and post it to YouTube. Now, I know you don't put, like, effort or anything into your videos, but you still had to take the time to record it and get the take you wanted. You have to put it on YouTube, so you have to upload it. It has to process. You have to put in the name. You have to tag it. Got to get a description. You got to take all that time waiting while it does those things. Don't tell me you don't care after you go through all that trouble to post a public YouTube video. Whether it bothered you? I don't know. But something bothered you enough eventually to block us on Twitter.
I just didn't understand it.
You know, Next Gen, they have made books about the things you don't understand. It's called the dictionary.
because obviously they didn't listen to my video, and I've never said that the Scorpio will be more powerful than, you know, a high-end gaming rig. We talking about maybe a $400 console.
Your interchangeable use of PC, gaming rig, it's very confusing, first off. It's a little disingenuous, second off. It's obvious that we know that you don't understand how numbers work based on your continued refusal to understand what Steam surveys are for. Come on. Come on, next gen. Come on. You're telling us we didn't understand you now?
Maybe at most a $500 console, comparing it to a $2,000 or $3,000 PC. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and literally seconds later, you bring up $3,000, $2,000 PCs. Like, you're the only one talking about $2,000, $3,000 PCs here. I mean, I'm not, and you certainly don't need that much money to get Scorpio power. Not at all. You know, like, seconds later, after you accuse us of not understanding you, you say the thing that we say that you... Let's just keep going.
All I was saying, just because you have a GTX 1080 or whatever you're rocking with, a P89 32-volt 50 cal pistol, whatever the hell you got in your rig, all that's not allocated for gaming. As far as in a console, everything you see in that box is made for gaming.
Next gen, when you say things like this, do you ever say to yourself, after you say them, after the words leave your lips, do you ever ask yourself, did I just say a dumb thing? Is the thing I said, was it a dumb thing? No, of course not. If you would have done that, you wouldn't have said these words. I mean, do you see the pattern developing here? You say something about PCs. People who know things about PCs make response videos to the things that you say, telling you why those things are wrong. You don't change at all. There's a pattern developing, right? It happens over and over, and we've done it again. We have come full circle once again next gen. Maybe that's why you call yourself Next Gen 720, because you've just done basically 2 circles and ended right where you begin. First off, I don't know if you're aware, but a GTX 1080 is stronger than a Scorpio. GTX 1080 will probably run basically everything better than a Scorpio will. When you take the power that it has with the tinkering you can do with settings and things like that, I think it'd be really hard-pressed for a Scorpio to be able to do what a 1080 can do, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I am, and based on everything we've seen, I don't think I am. Maybe I will be. But Microsoft's really going to have to work some magic if they want to get past the GTX 1080. Look, and maybe next gen you have never ever been on a PC before, but if you did and you actually played games on one or knew anything about them, you would know that the background processes you might be running if you were playing games like Origin or Battle.net or Skype or Discord, Steam, Chrome, these basically have absolutely no impact on performance when you're playing a game, right? The idea that PCs are getting bogged down by background processes it's dumb. Technically, does having more processes running slow down your computer? I mean, technically it might, but imperceptibly. It's negligible. You won't notice it. You never could. Now, if you want to stream a video and watch this and have something rendering, and if you want to do all that stuff in the background and play a game, yeah, your performance will suffer. But rendering videos and doing things like that, it takes a lot of attention away from your computer. It takes a lot of resources. That's why normally you just wait until it's done rendering to play your games, if you need those frames. It's also kind of interesting how you seem to be under the impression that an Xbox doesn't have any background processes running. Like, at all. Like, you're literally just running a game and there's nothing else happening. There's no messaging apps. There's no internet connection to any sort of service. There's no launchers that keep open. There's no Skype. There's no communication stuff. I mean, maybe you honestly believe that that stuff just magically disappears. I mean, like, maybe you actually believe that. I don't know. At this point, I'm pretty convinced you'll believe just about anything. I mean, and when the Xbox One came out, I mean, wasn't one of its, selling features the fact you can multitask on it? You don't think that slows games down? I mean, it does, on varying degrees based on what you have running in the back. I mean, you said yourself, everything that you see in that box is meant for gaming. Okay, I'll remember that next time I want to use Skype to chat with somebody. It's meant for gaming.
Developers can target that set specs 1,000% of the time because they know it's there.
You understand games can be optimized for PC too, right? And you understand that the Xbox has games that are not well optimized for it, right? It's been that way since the dawn of time. Hate to break it to you. Don't see what the point of bringing it up is. I mean, 99.9% of multiplats run better on a gaming PC, so why mention it?
PCs, you have an unlimited amount of variations. You may have an i5, you may have an i7, you may have an i9, you may have a 2212, you may have 8 gigs of RAM, he has 16. you see where I'm going with this, okay? I mean, I understand that games later on can be, the developers can release patches, but on the offset.
Yeah, you don't understand how PCs work, do you? You really don't. You honestly have no idea how they work and function. I mean, have you never asked yourself, well, wait a second, there's all this immense variation between the amount of components a computer can have, and yet games will always run on it. Barring the rare exceptions, of course, but those happen on console too. But all gaming PCs will have basically the same components. CPU, GPU, motherboard, all that stuff. They have the same pieces. Their arrangements and the way that they communicate together, yeah, it can have some impact. But never to the point where it runs worse than a console does. I mean, you know what like DirectX is, right? You know what OpenGL is, right? You know the purpose of those things. You know what they do, right? Right? Optimization is good. Yeah, wherever it is, optimization is good. But it's not going to be something that makes consoles run better than PCs all of a sudden. Optimization can get you somewhere, but it's not some sort of a magical panacea to all technological system requirements. The end result is that games run better on PC. PC gaming and the power you get with it is getting cheaper and cheaper by the day. Couple that with the ability to customize performance based on your budget. It's no wonder a lot of people are just saying to hell with consoles.
Game Informer said, for the build they played, they barely can tell the difference between the Scorpio version of this game and the PC version of this game. And the Xbox version had a much better frame rate. Now these are...
Yeah, and I don't believe that for 1 second. A PC that is designed to run at 4K is not going to run at lower frame rates than Assassin's Creed, especially based on what I saw at E3. Of course, there will be PCs that will run it lower. There will be PCs that run it higher. There will be PCs that run at 1440p, that run at way more FPS. There will be PCs that run it at 1080p with way more FPS. They'll probably have better texture qualities and load distances and really everything. Because remember, next gen, performance is more than just resolution and an FPS cap. There's a lot of gamers like me who consider 60 FPS to be unacceptably low.
These aren't my words, this is coming from the Game Informer.
Though I do think it's a little interesting. Digital Foundry says something you don't like about Xbox. Well, they're just shills and you can't trust them. And then they come out the next day and you're like, oh, we gotta believe them. You wouldn't disbelieve Digital Foundry, would you? If it's something we like to hear, it's trustworthy. If it's something that makes us look bad, they're a bunch of liars and shills. But I'm interested in this little Assassin's Creed Origins thing, and I'm going to delve into it a little bit further and see what you're not telling us. Because when someone says what you've said, I'm instantly skeptical and I want to check for myself. Alright, so let's take a look at this one. Report, Assassin's Creed Origins on Project Scorpio runs at consistent frame rate in 4K. A report from a leaked copy of Game Informer magazine talks about the performance of the newly revealed Assassin's Creed Origins on Project Scorpio. The article says, the report mentions that the writer had some hands-on time with the game running on Scorpio, and while on PC it ran at a fairly steady 30 FPS, on Project Scorpio it ran at a frame rate that felt more consistent at 4K resolution. Why would you take this as canon? Fairly steady 30 FPS is in quotes, and felt more consistent is in quotes. And this is all based on one guy who had some hands-on time with the game in its current build. Not only that, but they don't say anything about the kind of PC that was made here. What were its specs? Is it a weak PC, a strong PC? And what do you mean by consistent? Basically, we have fairly steady to felt more consistent. What is that even supposed to mean? There's so much we don't know. There's so much to be left up to interpretation here. I'm almost willing to say that this shouldn't have even been published in terms of video game journalism. Nobody should be taking any sort of anything from this, either pro-PC or pro-Scorpio. This is practically meaningless. The article also says that other than that, the small size of the screen used for the demo unfortunately made noticing tremendous differences with a standard version difficult. Well, wait, what's the standard version? We haven't set the precedent for the standard version yet. Standard version running on what? On where? And apparently Assassin's Creed Origin runs at dynamic 4K resolution on Xbox One X. It's not even native. Also, the Xbox One X is a silly name. You know how many parents this holiday season are going to be thinking, did little Timmy mean Xbox One S or Xbox One X? That's like Wii and Wii U. Like I thought for ages the Wii U was just an add-on for the Wii because it has the word Wii in its name. And it's this tablet-looking thing. I thought you plugged in it. It's marketing. It's important. And yes, I know it's Xbox One X, XBOX, Xbox. I get that, and it's more clever than it is helpful. Truthfully, Scorpio was a way better name. Or they would have called it some sort of a nonsense word like they do with cars. like Ultima, Maxima, Veloster, Miata. Well, Miata's German. Never mind. It's weird. I've been hearing these cultists talk about true 4K, true 4K, true 4K for like a year now. Just weird that one of these big old Ubisoft AAA titles and it's not true 4K. I just think it's weird. It's almost like the things that we warned them about are coming true. Yeah, but to be honest, I suppose we have to blame Sony a bit with their whole 4K thing, because if it's this weird upscaled sort of this, and you could get the word, and it's sort of 4K, but not really, and it's not... Yeah, thanks for muddying the waters with terms. Actually, to be fair, I don't know if Sony was the one who started that. Someone did. Whoever it was, fuck you. And I mean, I don't want to be too much of a Debbie Downer here, but wasn't the Xbox One X, such a dumb name, marketed as a true 4K gaming machine? I mean, it uses checkerboard rendering and what's it called, dynamic resolution, but look, I'm not doubting for a single second that it won't look lovely on the Xbox One X. It's a dumb name, but I mean, it's not true 4K. And I know that's a technicality, but you were sold on a technicality. Look, I'm sure it'll look beautiful on the Xbox One, not Scorpio, and I'm sure it'll look gorgeous on PC. But there's so much we have to work with here that are maybes and mights. And I think we can already kind of see a pattern starting to develop here that the waters have been muddied in terms of, well, the terms. These comments from the N4G article, they kind of sum up what I've secretly been thinking for a long time. Well, maybe not so secretly. But if we were told it's up to the developers how to decide to use the Xbox One X, but we're also being sold the idea that it's a true 4K gaming system, then which is it? Are you selling us on the potential, the maybes? Are you selling us on the exceptions? Dear God, if it turns out that native 4K 60 FPS games are the exception on the Xbox One X, which they very well might be, I don't know. Dear God. This flame war is going to explode, and it'll be glorious, and I do not care who wins. I just want to be there to watch. So let's wrap this up really quick, this part at least. This writer said he had some hands-on time with the game running on a small screen. He said on PC it ran at a fairly steady 30 FPS. He said on Scorpio it ran at a frame rate that quote-unquote felt more consistent at 4K resolution. But it's not true 4K resolution. It was dynamic resolution, because the game will be at dynamic resolution on the Xbox One X. They didn't even tell us the specs of the PC, or the size of the... There's so much here that we don't know. It's all up to interpretation. Ugh. Look, for all that these fanboys and cultists have been screaming about, it is true gaming power, and what we're getting out of Assassin's Creed Origins is that it's just got more consistent 30 FPS at not even native 4K. I'm just saying, maybe the term beast has been watered down a little bit. Oh, dear God, I've been talking about this bit for a long time. Let's move along. Dear Lord, we'll be here all day. Next gen, you're an idiot. If anything, that article actually makes me question the true beast power of the Scorpio, but whatever, you do you, man.
But I said in my video last year that don't be surprised if the Scorpio outperforms a lot of people's gaming rigs, right?
Yeah, that wasn't disputed. Besides, a lot of the times people wait until a console comes out until they upgrade anyway. But using it to knock the power of PC is foolish because people have always had the option to build something stronger anyway, oftentimes for less money.
They heard that and lost their mind!
No, it was mostly the other stupid things you said.
So, I'm here today. Y'all gonna get this work, right? I'm here today, right? I'm here today. Ready or not. So, anyway.
In hindsight, I probably should have cut that out, but, you know, just let him have his moments.
I just understand it. So I want to, you know, what's your damage control of this? You know what I mean? But that's neither here or there. NeoGaf, come on, come to the front of the congregation. Now, NeoGaf, we all know, has been very toxic over the last few years of this generation. Just being honest, right?
Damn, that's the pot calling the kettle black.
They have been to developers, to, you know, regular people, Xbox fans get blocked. I don't go there. You know what I mean?
Unlike you, Next Gen, you have been the model of decorum itself since you stepped onto the internet.
But I so happened to hop in today. Someone showed me a thread.
Blah, blah, blah.
Going in today, and so of course, like the news broke yesterday about Assassin's Creed, right?
You mean how this huge AAA game is not true 4K on a gaming machine that was built as a true 4K gaming experience?
Going in today, Now, it's okay if the Scorpio, the Pro just give us 1440p, and maybe we can checkerboard it. It'd be just as good as native 4K. What? You guys were saying for 3 years, give you native resolution to give you death.
It's almost like fanboys for consoles are insanely hypocritical on every side, isn't it? This whole Xbox Scorpio cult nonsense is as cringy as it is hypocritical. While the PlayStation 4 for the last 3 years has been beating the pants off of you in terms of, the fidelity of the graphics, the better resolutions, higher frame rates, generally across the board, that's when you guys have been saying, oh, graphics don't matter, graphics don't matter. It's not about graphics, it's about these other things. It doesn't matter. See, it's not even really 1440p. It's just checkerboard sort of trickery that they do with your eyes. It's a lie, man. Fucking government's trying to push dynamic resolutions in your fucking breakfast cereal. Fucking Roger Rabbit's gay. What if that was that about? I don't know, why did I say that? But it's almost like a lot of us, should be blaming Sony for muddying the waters in terms of what is 4K and what isn't. Obviously, 1440p upscaled to 4K isn't true 4K. And when you have the Xbox Scorpio, or the Xbox One X, is billed as a true 4K gaming experience, and this huge AAA game is the same thing. It's got checkerboarding, or it has dynamic resolution that shift, and it is not 4K. What, you don't think they're going to jump on that? Because why are you even bringing this up? The hypocrisy works both ways. The fact they're bringing that up highlights what you were saying. Assassin's Creed Origins isn't true 4K on the true 4K gaming machine, we were told. And if you're a Sony fanboy, yeah, that's something that you should call them out for. Because for Lord knows how long, it was the Xbox fanboys who said, well, it's not even true 4K on the PlayStation 4 Pro. You see? Now that the shoe's on the other foot, next gen, you see? Why would you bring this up? It makes you look like a fool.
It was, I don't care. Even if the game was 900p on the PlayStation 4 Pro, or the PS4, and it was 720 on the Xbox One, it was a big deal.
Well, yeah, there's a big difference between 720p and 1080p and 720p and 900p. That's a very big difference. It's instantly recognizable. Not quite as obvious as 30 versus 60 FPS, but it's a big difference. Games look way better at 900p than 720p. Because for some reason we have gaming consoles playing games at 900p and... what year is it?
Like, come on, bro. Now resolution's not a big deal? Stop!
So are you telling me that resolution isn't a big deal? After all this time you've been spent fanboying for a true 4K gaming machine? Because 4K didn't mean shit to you people until all of a sudden Xbox said, oh, we're going to make a 4K gaming console. Then all of a sudden it became the bee's knees and everybody wanted it all along.
Like, you got, I don't like, but listen, have you no morale? Have you no shame?
Irony, thy God is next gen 720.
Like, what's going on here? You guys are begging for a checkerboard now?
Obviously, they're not begging for checkerboard rendering. How you got that out of this is insane. I just think it is funny, though, how one side points out the hypocrisy of the other, and everybody flip-flops on what's important based on what they can actually do.
That's just as good as native 4K, but what you guys are missing. It's not only is the Scorpio going to be native 4K.
Is it, though? Maybe sometimes, because from what I'm seeing here, and based on what I'm seeing from Microsoft themselves on their own website, introducing new packaging icons for Xbox. Yeah, it's a 4K gaming machine, but we have to tell you there's a difference between 4K Ultra HD, HDR, and Xbox One X Enhanced. So they can have a game, or they can have a box, and they can slap this on the cover to let you know, oh, by the way, I know we've been saying native 4K for a long, long time, but that might not actually be the case across the board. Of course, if you thought that every game was going to be native 4K, you were an idiot anyway. Even if Microsoft puts 4K Ultra HD on the outside, it can still include checkerboarding and dynamic resolution. Because the true 4K, 4K Ultra HD, all this stuff, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's still going to be called 4K. Again, like Assassin's Creed Origins, dynamic 4K resolution. It's not true 4K. And it's not 60 FPS either. People have been beating their drums and chanting to themselves, 4K 60, 4K 69 is bigger than 5. And yet, when I was watching, Microsoft showing off all their games, many of which, and as I say your games, a lot of them were third-party games available to, everyone, so they weren't even exclusives to Microsoft. A lot of them I couldn't help but notice a lot of them said enhanced, Xbox One enhanced. And there was some question as to what that meant, and apparently it means a developer has done special work to take advantage of Xbox One's 6 teraflops of power. Specific enhanced features will vary by game. So basically, this is a label that's practically meaningless. They just wanted to put Xbox One X Enhanced to try to give you a reason to say, oh, see, we got a stronger system, so they made the game look better for the stronger system, because nowadays, I suppose, you have to tell console gamers that that's a thing that happens. It's like, what, a game runs and looks better on the better, stronger, platform? God, gee willikers, where have I seen or heard that before? Oh yeah, everything, because I play on PC. So yeah, you can say, yeah, the Scorpio's gonna be native 4K. Sometimes it will be, right? But if I was one of those cultists who thought that everything would be 4K 60 across the board and I was looking at this information, I would not be pleased.
It's going to have the better textures and resolution. And I'm going to say this again.
Well, I mean, not better than PC. Don't forget, PC's a thing.
Because all this always gets lost in translation all the time.
Yeah, because Microsoft, just like Sony before them, is muddying the waters in terms of what terms mean. They're doing the same thing that Sony did. And so if you're going to call out Sony for it for all this time, which you did, you're going to have to call Microsoft out for it too. For the sake of consistency, which I'm certain you will absolutely do. 100%, right?
Okay? Resolution does not give you better graphics.
Wait, what?
Resolution does not give you better graphics.
Wait, what? One more time. I must be hearing you wrong.
Resolution does not give you better graphics.
Yes, they do. Resolution, that's a part of graphics, is the resolution you are playing at. Games will look better at higher resolutions than lower resolutions, all other things being equal. There's literally no negative aspect to having a higher resolution in terms of how the game looks. Let's take Metal Gear Solid, The Phantom Pain, for instance. I play that game at 4K. It looks gorgeous. It looks better in 4K than it does at 1440p. Without messing with any other settings like texture quality or the looks of things or anti-aliasing, all that, it looks better.
It's the textures, the shaders, and all that stuff there.
And all of those things will look better at higher resolutions than compared to lower resolutions. But maybe I should hang it up and frame it from you that you said resolution doesn't give you better graphics. I mean, holy shit, after all of this time, we've been talking about the Scorpio. 4K, 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 4K. Now that we've got the reveals, now that we've seen a lot of the footage, now that we understand that Xbox One Enhanced is a thing that has to be put on video game titles, now you're saying, oh, resolution doesn't give you better graphics. If resolution doesn't give you better graphics, then what possibly could? And what's the point of resolution then? Why bother? You've been playing up the Scorpio in true 4K for all this time, and now you're saying resolution doesn't give you better graphics. What the hell?
And the Scorpio would have better textures, better shaders, super sampling. Listen, I bought a PS4 Pro day one. I bought that console because I thought I was going to have better graphics. It's 4.2 teraflops? 4.2.
Yeah, and games on the PS4 Pro looked better than the games on the Xbox One. The same game looked better on the PS4 Pro because it ran at a higher resolution. All other things being equal, a higher resolution makes the game look better.
Does it play at a higher resolution than the PS4? Yes.
Okay, so it does look better.
And it upscales the rest to 4K. My TV will upscale it regardless, know what I mean? That's not the issue. I bought that console because I thought I was going to have better graphics.
It does. You just said it played at a higher resolution. Oh yeah, you don't think resolution gives you better graphics. Okay. Resolution just is apparently some meaningless thing to you now all of a sudden, I suppose.
And it's not, okay? It's being real, it's not. I thought I was going to have a higher frame rate, a lock 60 frames.
Well, maybe if you weren't going around blocking everybody and you actually listened to what other people were saying, you would have known before you spent all that money on a system that it wouldn't be doing this stuff at 60 FPS. If you didn't do your research, that's on you.
Get out of here. Ah, like, come on, man. And the Scorpio was giving you all that. And even tomorrow, the thing comes in at $500.
Wait, this has nothing to do with the video, but are you playing against computers in a fighting game here? You couldn't even give us footage of you playing against human-controlled and... whatever.
It's not a big deal. Well, Sony's gonna be for so what? The Pro is not doing anything.
I mean, it's not a huge deal, but it does run at better resolution, and it generally has better frame rates than before. Or hell, a lot of the times, I guess, we're just gonna see the PS4 Pro have the same frame rate as the Xbox One X. I mean, let me check my calendar to see what year it is, and we're playing Destiny 2, still at 30 FPS. For first-person shooter, right? Action-packed, quick-paced, first-person shooter, Xbox One X goes at 30 FPS. All of the times you guys were saying 4K 60, 4K 60. Well, I mean, Assassin's Creed Origins isn't 60. It's not even 4K. Xbox One X isn't even 60. It stays at 30 FPS. Like I'm driving a slideshow in space. It's like the more I learn about the Xbox One X, the less and less appealing it gets.
The Scorpios, we talking about gameplay recording. 4K 60 frames a second, bruh.
In games that support 60 FPS, Destiny 2 ain't one. Assassin's Creed Origins ain't one. I wonder what other games, it turns out, will not be at 60 FPS 4K. I wonder how many that will be. I wonder how big the list will go. I think the PC version goes up to, I don't know, 144 or so. I've heard unlimited, I've heard 144. Either way, really good, really high. Certainly gets to 60. I say skip out on this Xbox One X nonsense. Get yourself a PC. Experience games like you've never experienced them before.
We talking about PC textures, bro.
At 30 FPS, bro.
4K native.
Except for the games that aren't native.
Now listen, like I told you guys then, no one believed me. They
Yes, because you're a liar who doesn't understand anything.
called me everything but a child of God. And I told you I knew somebody that knew somebody. Every game that we've been playing thus far this generation, the Scorpio can handle at 4K native.
And the new games coming out, which it clearly can't handle at native 4K. And there's a lot of games out nowadays that are really tough to run that I would doubt a Scorpio could run at 4K native. There's a lot of really graphically demanding games out there. You sure about that? Every single one? You certain about that?
You had everybody on these different shows. Ain't no way the Scorpio's gonna give you 4K native.
Well, yeah, it's not powerful enough to do that without other graphical setbacks or frame rate loss. Is it a big improvement? Yeah, it is, but it's just not enough.
I have a $1,000 PC and I can have this and that.
Yes, and it will run better than a Scorpio, yeah.
Listen, I can't, man.
Yes, we know. You can't. You can't think clearly. You can't examine data. You can't be skeptical. You can't make a channel on YouTube worth a damn. You can't play Destiny 2 at more than 30 FPS, and you can't play Assassin's Creed Origins at true 4K. Yeah, tell us more about what you can't do.
I'm listening. I'm about to listen. I'm about to. By the time, listen. Do me a favor. After you finish watching this video, you want to hear some more on this, man? I'm gonna leave the link down below. Come to my live show. I'm about to do the broadband bully, so we're gonna do some more E3 talk, some more gossip.
Man, sign me up for that.
And I will be giving away a game or two. So come rock out with me, man. And have you no shame?
Well, I guess we'll find out, won't we?
You guys are begging for upscale now?
I mean, that's not what they said.
Checkerboard running? You remember checkerboard? Well, yeah, I forgot what they used on Quantum Break. You know what I mean?
Well, you're getting it on Scorpio, so you might as well learn to enjoy it.
Same thing as checkerboard. That wasn't good back then, right? But now you guys are begging for checkerboard. Yo, I can't make this up, man.
You literally can. You just did. You just made up things for, like, how long was this video? You made up things for however long this video was. That was, yes.
I swear, man, these dudes are some real life weirdos, man. I've been saying that forever, man, but...
Okay. Well, that train wreck is finally over. That was fun, sort of. Not really. Anyway, I'll go ahead and get this posted up, and thanks if you've watched this far. That was a lot to get through. That was a lot to get through. Next Gen, just never stop. I mean, I poke fun at you because you're a massive buffoon, and you don't have two brain cells to rub together and make a spark. But you're just like Crap Gamer, just never stop making videos. Just never stop making some of the shittiest content I have ever seen in my life. And I've watched the Young Turks and Sean and Jen. So one last time, thanks for watching, and you guys take care while I'm away.